Good evening and welcome to another episode of Late Night with Lenette. I'm Lenette Peterson, your host. Now, Happy New Year, first of all. And with the new year, the New Hampshire House and Senate have a new session gearing up today. This show is being taped. Today is January 6th. And with the new session starting, I encourage you to keep track of your state reps and your state senator. A lot goes on during the sessions. You need to follow along, check their voting record, check their attendance. Make sure they're in line with the way you think and the way you would vote. It's easy to do that. They have a website that you can go to. I thought I had the website here. Just if you Google General House New Hampshire, Gen House New Hampshire, you'll get the website. And you can keep track of what's going on up in Concord. I encourage you to call them, email them, go to the State House. You can sit in on a committee hearing, you can sit in on a House session. Committee hearings, you can even, anyone that goes up there and fills out a pink card can speak. So I encourage you, get involved with your state reps and your state senator, and then vote accordingly in the fall. Now, I have a very special guest with me this evening, my first presidential candidate on Late Night with Lenette. Mr. Vermin Supreme, welcome.
Thank you, Lenette.
It's an honor to have you on my show.
It's an honor to be on this show.
Now,
hello, people of Merrimack. That's how you do pronounce it, correct?
Yes, Merrimack.
Merrimack.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, back in 2004, going back in time.
That was a long time ago.
Yes, it was. You were on the Washington, D.C. primary ballot.
Absolutely correct. The Washington, D.C. primary ballot at that time was a very interesting animal. It came about in that Washington, D.C. was challenging New Hampshire as the first in the nation primary. And the reason they were doing that was as a civilly disobedient act. They were doing so to call attention to the plight of lack of representation in Congress by D.C. And so they made this move to try and leapfrog in front of New Hampshire. Now, what happened was the DNC told the people that their delegates would not be seated if they were going to proceed with this first in the nation wannabe primary. And so it became quite controversial. And so the backers of the ballot itself, they sort of backed down, and a lot of the main candidates didn't want any part in it. I think Howard Dean was not in, and a number of other candidates boycotted it. But the beautiful thing about it, the most beautiful thing about it, was that this particular primary ballot required no signatures.
Nice.
And no money.
Oh, that's even better.
All you had to do was simply ask them nicely, and maybe even not so nicely, to put you on the ballot. And so I asked them and sent the documentation as to my name, because sometimes there was a question back in the day, and they put me on that ballot. And part of the most wonderful thing about that being on the ballot was that allowed me a full page that appeared on the DC Voters Guide that went out to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of voters. And that led to my inclusion in the very last year that the Department of Defense had a telephone system where you could call and hear the candidates. So I was able to leave a message about the mandatory toothbrushing law on the DoD, Department of Defense phone. And so, yes, that was actually the first time where I really got the message out. I included the entire text of the mandatory toothbrushing law in that document. And so, once again, on a shoestring, because I've always run my campaign as a shoestring campaign, and that shoestring pretty much holds my pants up. But yes, it enabled me, it gave me a lot of mileage for a big bang for no bucks, really.
Nice, yeah. You took a lot of my information about the D.C. primary.
Yes.
Now, that was 2004.
It was.
How long have you been running for president?
2004 was the first time I had appeared on a ballot.
Okay, I didn't see anything before that. So, yeah.
But of course, I had been utilizing the New Hampshire primary as a canvas since about '92. I was coming up here pretty regularly, so '92, '96. But at those times, I was utilizing the presidential campaign for my own purposes, and at the time, I believe my own purposes involved running for mayor of the entire United States, emperor of the new millennium in 2000. And so I was utilizing the presidential format to superimpose my own titles upon. Now, after a while, I realized that this explanation of what I was actually running for was taking away from the core talking points of mandatory toothbrushing and zombie preparedness and time travel and these things. So I finally copped probably around 04, that I was running for president. Just because it's easier, it's shorthand, and it saves a lot of trouble.
Very good. Now, do you always run on the Democratic ticket?
I have not always run on the Democratic ticket, although I traditionally in D.C. that was a Democratic primary, so I had to go with that. In 2008, which was my first New Hampshire ballot access, I ran as a Republican.
Right, I saw that in the...
And I got 43 votes.
Yep.
I tend to enjoy being on the Republican ticket a little bit more because I find it more enjoyable. But it's a strategic decision, of course. And it was a no-brainer in 2012. If I go up against a incumbent, then there's a very likelihood that I'll do much better. This time around, I looked at the fields, the Republican field. It was very crowded, and I didn't feel that I could really rise to the top. Whereas when I was looking at the Democratic ticket, I thought, and I still think, that I could probably come in a tight third behind Hillary.
A lot of there's room for improvement on that one. Yeah.
Yes.
Now in D.C. you got over 100 votes.
144 votes.
Yes.
And that's gross. Yeah.
Now, have you ever run for a different elected position? Have you been on ballot for maybe state rep?
I have not. No. I've always tended to think locally and act globally, if you will.
There you go. Yep. So you've never held an office before, or?
I'm afraid not. No.
So
I do believe that I have actual constituents.
There you go.
That I have not been. But I haven't been able to govern on their behalf. But I believe that I can effectively lobby their interests using this format. I mean, the fact that I've come as far as I have with such limited means and sheer persistence and fortitude and wearing a rubber boot on my head.
There you go. It is stunning, by the way.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Yeah.
These simple and elegant and effective elements that have allowed me to make a much bigger impact than perhaps maybe I should even. But it has allowed me to amplify my voice 100-fold, 10,000-fold. If I were just some normal average guy in a normal average suit ranting and raving about normal issues, essentially that would not be interesting and it would not work. I would be alone on the street corner. Whereas I have been able to develop utilizing these fairly simple things, wearing a boot on one's head. It's pretty simple, and yet it has been very effective in terms of the attention that is garnered.
Now, how did you come up with the idea of a rubber boot?
Well, once again, the thing that I like most about the rubber boot is that if you were to take a photograph of me in a crowd and show it to any child and say, what is wrong with this picture, they would say the guy has a boot on his head.
Guy has a boot.
And so there's that. It's just flat out wrong. In fact, are you familiar with the Highlights magazine for children?
Oh, of course.
They have that drawing on the back sometimes.
Yes.
What's wrong with this
Yep,
picture?
you have to find out. Yep.
In 2012, I was included. A drawing of me was included in that.
Oh, wow.
So that is the main thing. I mean, it's a signal to the person that I'm approaching or the viewer that something is not quite right. They might be able, it's questioning reality, and it's letting them know that they might experience something that might not be linear, something that might be a little off. And of course, I've been using humor and fanciful platform planks to draw attention and get a little deeper and elicit different responses than one might normally get by saying I'm for this or I'm against this, or taking a reality-based program and commenting on it. Whereas I'm not a pundit per se.
There you go.
I don't
Life is too short.
Yes, I mean my opinions and my actual real life opinions just have absolutely no bearing on my candidacy.
There you go. Yeah, and some of my friends have been saying your outfit was going to challenge my jacket.
Boom.
Yes, I like the tie collection. It must take you a while to get dressed.
Oh, indeed. Yes. Luckily, they're half Windsor knots, so it only takes that much longer.
There you go. Now, why seek the highest office in the country?
Once again, it's part of the simple, elegant, effective strategy. Where else can one possibly make such a big impact, such a big splash? The thing about running for president, it's magical. It's an exercise where you don't have to register with the FEC. You can, but just by saying the simple words, this phrase, "I am running for president," then you are running for president. And so I simply took that step. I am running for president, and because it's a national office, it's of national interest. And and it attracts the coverage of the national media, and of course the New Hampshire primary, being the first primary in the nation, draws an insane, inordinate amount of coverage and press from the world over. And once again, so I've been able to hijack that, to utilize that to my advantage, to amplify my voice, simply by saying the phrase, "I am running for president." You know, it doesn't matter how big your campaign is, although mine has certainly gotten bigger over the years, but it is totally one of the few venues in America where a simple average person can really make the impact.
There you go.
Might not get elected, but you can get your word out if you're clever enough and if you have something to say.
Exactly, and you said it with New Hampshire being first in the nation, our primary is global. I can remember the two elections ago being interviewed by, oh my word, the BBC. There was a newspaper from the Orient. I think it was someplace in Asia. I forget. I think it was Thailand. They come from everywhere for the New Hampshire primary.
Indeed. The world of the eyes are on. I've always maintained that it is one of the lesser utilized events on the presidential calendar. Myself, I come from a protesting sort of background, and we hit them really hard in the conventions. At the political conventions, we'll field up to thousands and thousands of people to protest in the streets. Whereas New Hampshire, it's so small that even a much smaller number of malcontents or demonstrators could really make a difference.
Oh, huge! And you get freedom of speech, freedom to gather. Bring a crowd.
Yeah, we had that in 2012, where we had the Occupy the primary, a whole bunch when the Occupy was still a thing.
Correct. Yeah.
And of course the Libertarians and the Free State Project, a very big movement here, and a lot of my support comes from that area, because my appeal seems to be very wide, and my support network is very wide, albeit shallow, but it is wide. And so at any given event during the 2012 campaign, we would have Occupier protesters and the Libertarian Free State protesters. And it's New Hampshire, it's a small town. A lot of these people know each other.
Oh, exactly.
And it was very fluid, but it was so very nice to have such the extremes of my constituent base, from the far lean left to the far lean right, to come together and dog these candidates in the middle. We shut down Newt. We shut him down. He had to cancel an event because we were just there, and they had concerns.
There you go. There. Now you have some interesting platform.
Yes.
Bullet points.
Yes.
Now, one of them, you have this big green toothbrush. That is my most interesting one.
Yeah.
I am an advocate of brushing teeth. I mean, a mother of two daughters. It was never-ending battle.
Indeed. Well, once it is a law, once it is legislated.
So, what exactly would your law be?
Well, Lenette, let me say, the gingivitis has been eroding the gum line of this great nation of ours for long enough, and must be stopped. For too long, this country has been suffering a great moral and oral decay in spirit and in incisors. A country's future depends on its ability to bite back. We can no longer be a nation indentured. We must brace ourselves and bite the bullet as we cross over the bridgework into the 23rd century. May we become a sea of smiling, shiny, smiling, shiny, smiling, shiny, smiling, shiny, smiling, shiny, smiling, shiny faces, from sea to shiny smiling sea.
There you go. My dentist would be thrilled.
Once again, of course, this mandatory toothbrushing law is not about the secret dental police kicking down your door at 3 a.m.
No.
It is not about the government-issued toothpaste containing an addictive yet harmless substance. It is not about the dental re-education centers, nor is it about the preventative dental maintenance detention facilities. It is not about the computer dental chip implants for you and your children's safety. It is not even about the DNA gene splicing to create a race of winged monkeys to act as tooth fairy enforcers. No, Lenette, what this mandatory toothbrushing law is really all about is strong teeth for a strong America.
There you go. Yes. And we do need a strong America.
So true. I'm going to make it a bigger America. Faster, stronger. All of these things. Yes.
With nice teeth.
Nice teeth.
Yes. There you go. Yeah. And now I am partial to animals. And I know one of your bullet points is that if you were elected, everyone would get a pony.
That's very true.
Yeah. Now, why the pony?
Well, once again, it is a federal pony identification system. You must have your pony with you at all times.
I see that you have your pony with you.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
But once again, of course, we're talking real ponies.
Yes, yes, yes.
Ultimately, in a perfect world. And of course, the path to Ponatopia will not be easy.
No, I do like the idea of going back to ponies instead of driving a car.
Oh, yes. The fossil fuel, it's a transition time. It's a very transformative technology, or non-technology, if you will. But yes, indeed, the Ponytopia is the place to be. It will revolutionize the way America does business.
There you go. Now, where are we going to get all the ponies, though? That's a lot of ponies.
Well, once again, of course, many people have wondered this. There's some 300 million Americans. There's some 200,000 ponies. What exactly will we do? Possibilities under study include mass execution of Americans until we reach a more perfect human pony parity. Once again, of course, there's a lot of great arguments for that. In fact, it would be very good for the environment. It would certainly create jobs. But there are some drawbacks, mostly of ethics and public relations. So I think these can be overcome. Now, there are other options also, some sort of a Manhattan-style project, not an atomic bomb, but more of a pony population bomb, if you will. Perhaps pony cloning, also known as clonies. In vitro fertilization of pony embryos into various ungulates and equines. There's a lot of studies going in. There are the transitional times. There's the possibility of utilizing prosthetic devices and other things to transform your current day pets into pony substitutes for the time being. The possibility of hiring people to act as pants-buying ponies for each other until the full pony economy can take place. But these are mere details.
There you go. Just
once again, I believe it's a vision. I believe it's a vision that Americans shares. I believe it's a vision that many of my constituents are hoping that we'll be able to enact. And yes, free ponies have become part of the political vernacular, if you will. So I believe that the discussion has been started.
There you go. My daughter's hoping for a pony. I think that's how you're getting her vote. She wants a pony.
Yes.
Okay, now, one that I find, one of your bullets that I find, I don't want to say intriguing, but interesting to say the least. So he looks good there. Is it a he or she?
Either or.
Okay, there you go. Zombies. That comes up a lot when I mention your name. People mention zombies.
Yes, yes.
What's the connection of zombies and Mr. Vermin Supreme?
Well, I am hoping, well, once again, zombie apocalypse awareness is very important to me. I believe that not enough attention is being drawn by the federal government to the imminent zombie apocalypse, so I've made that a priority in my campaign and for my administration. I also believe that we can harness the awesome power of zombies as an energy source, as a clean, green, renewable energy source that will take us once again into the 23rd century by utilizing the latest in giant hamster wheel technology. we will be able to turn the turbines that will create electricity for us and our children long into the future after we're dead, and perhaps even zombies ourselves.
There you go. Zombie electricity. It'd be a lot cheaper than what we have now, hopefully.
Cheap, too cheap to meter.
Yeah, especially in the Northeast, our energy costs are skyrocketing out
Yes,
of control.
yes, zombie in every home. You know, there'll be home zombie in every case first, and then we'll ultimately scale it up. But that will take some work, certainly. And I'd like to point out that there has never been an accidental zombie release from any licensed zombie energy turbine facility.
Good to know, and good to hear.
Yeah.
And now you have a brain. I'm guessing it's a human brain,
Oh,
not a real
yes.
one, not a real one. May I ask why?
Well, once again, it's part of the symbolic nod to the zombie apocalypse and their innate, insatiable hunger for human brains. You can vote for me, or you cannot vote for me, but if you don't vote for me, you may be terrified in your home as the zombies are clawing at your windows and knocking at your door, and you're going to say you might have wished. However, be that as it may, this also symbolizes my offer to Ben Carson, who I believe I may be appointed to as a Surgeon General of Zombie Medicine, because I do believe that Dr. Ben Carson may be the only one out there who can possibly re-engineer human brains to make them unpalatable to zombies.
Yeah, that would be nice, because that was my next question. If we're turn into a zombie nation for energy, what's to stop the zombies from eating all our brains?
Containment facilities, of course.
Gotcha. Now, would this be run by the state or the federal government? I mean, how would this work?
I'm not ready to nationalize the energy grid just yet.
Gotcha.
I think it will be very decentralized. And first.
Now, is there licensing, or, I mean, how do we keep the zombies under control or accounted for? There's got to be some sort of...
Well, I think the regulatory framework will essentially be evolved, if you will, when that time comes. Until then, I believe that the private industry will take the initiative and do what the market will need it to do.
There you go. Interesting. Yeah. No, I think I've hit all of your... Am I missing any of your campaign? Anything?
Well, I guess the fourth plank that we haven't touched upon, which is almost a third rail of American politics, is, of course, time travel.
Yeah, time to... Yes.
Yes, and, of course, time travel has become an actual issue in this election year. I've been promoting full funding of energy time travel research, I'm telling you, for many years now. And finally this year it seems to have come to the forefront with people journalists asking Ben Carson if he would abort baby Hitler. He refused that. Ben Carson, soft on baby Hitler apparently. Jeb Bush was asked about this issue, and he said he would go back in time to kill baby Hitler, but I am the only candidate who will go back in time to kill baby Hitler, because that's been part of my platform for quite some time. Space-time continuum be damned, full speed ahead, and once we get into the past, the future will be ours.
So time travel, could it travel forward as well as back?
Yes, of course.
Yep. Okay. Now, what would be the benefit of traveling forward?
Well, we could see what's going on.
Yeah, true. That could also be scary.
Well, true.
Yeah.
True. We could warn the people of the future.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Kind of like a...
Or does it go the other way? Do we go back and warn the people of the past about the future?
That'd be interesting.
Yes.
Going back in time, maybe fixing some things that are affecting us now. That would have been good. Michael J. Fox, it's coming to mind with his movie.
Yes. Yes.
Well, very good. An interesting campaign, to say the least.
Well, thank you.
Unfortunately, I was not able to go to Concord when you registered to be on the primary. A good friend of mine was there, a state representative, Janine Nodder.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember meeting Janine Nodder? She was there. Yeah.
Hi, Janine.
She said to say hello to you.
Very good.
Yep. Now, it's quite expensive to get your name on the ballot in New Hampshire, isn't it?
It depends on your term. Expensive, yes.
Yep.
$1,000. That's
yeah. Now, I was on the ballot for state rep, and that was $2. That's more my budget. Yeah.
Well, I should run for that. That's a lot cheaper.
Yeah. You had to be a New Hampshire resident. You had to be
I
over
could
the
get
age.
$1,000.
over the age of 18, and yeah, it's $2.
Bargain.
Yeah, that was, I could handle that.
Yes, my supporters were able to raise that money.
Nice.
I've been trying to do this not out of pocket. It was out of pocket for many years. And, from now on, it's strictly on my supporters, if you will.
Very good. Now, is there a certain area of New Hampshire, like Seacoast or up north, is there a certain region where your followers are the thickest?
I suppose in the cities, I suppose in the Manchester.
Manchester area?
We could look at the election results from 2012. I don't have them handy, but they were fairly evenly distributed, but there was definitely a more denser vote pattern in the cities.
Now, after the New Hampshire primary, are you planning on having your name put on any other state primary?
It's very difficult to get on any number of states' primary ballots. Most require tens of thousands of signatures. Once upon a time, I did some research. I think there was 10 states that would require 5,000 or less signatures. There's a few that require less than 25. But quite frankly, with the support level that I do have, I mean, they certainly appreciate what I do. I believe that they understand and believe in what I do, but can I count on them to collect lots of signatures? No. Would I expect them to? Not really. Would I be surprised if they did? Yes.
Now, how about go for a writing?
Writing, yes. There are several states that you can register to be an official writing candidate. Right now, I might be able to have general ballot access in Colorado, but again, that's $1,000, so you really have to weigh it. I mean, New Hampshire, yes, that's a bang for a buck. That is truly worth every penny for an aspiring politician, for somebody who wants to make that ripple in the national pool, if you will. But you know, a later thing, general election, I mean, it might be nice to see how many votes I got. I'll leave that to my supporters.
And how, probably to get your name like on the Iowa caucus, it would probably be costly or signatures?
Well, the caucus itself is run where essentially all the citizens of a general area get together and then they raise their hands. Who's supporting this one? Who's supporting that one? So it's it's not as concentrated as a primary.
Okay, we are coming up to the last of the show. Do you have any parting? Yeah, it goes quick, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Last comments, last bit of information?
My fellow New Hampshireans, let me say this to you. You are truly the most important people in the world to me. You are the voters of New Hampshire. Your vote, for me, counts so much more than any other crappy vote from any other crappy state in the nation. This isn't aired anywhere else, is it?
No.
Okay. New Hampshire, once again, people of New Hampshire, I am going to rebuild the old man of the mountain for you. I'm going to make it 5 times as big. We're going to have a command headquarters inside of it. It's going to shoot lasers out its eyes. It's going to breathe fire, and it's going to puke glitter all over the state of Vermont. That is my promise to you, people of New Hampshire. Live free or die!
Very good. Well, I thank you for coming on my show this evening.
You,
very informative, very exciting. I thank you for tuning in. Tune in next week for another exciting guest. Good night and God bless.
Woo!
Goes pretty quick, doesn't it?
Sure does.